Hey gang, it's Carol with Refunction Crafts, and I'm going to bring you another handmade flower video today. And in today's video, we're going to be making some of these beautiful flowers. I made these last night. I had a epiphany, and I wanted some different, to add some different kinds of flowers to my arsenal. So I got out my beautiful flower punch that I got from Debbie. She sent me this in some happy mail, and thank you, Debbie. You know how much I love this. And I really haven't had a chance to use it yet, and I finally decided, it's time for me to make some flowers and just get them in my stash and maybe start making some to sell, but they have to be good enough for me to sell them. So I just had some ideas. I wanted to make the flowers like Debbie made, and I didn't do so very well. I was not very good at making the beautiful flowers that Debbie made. And I tried and tried, and they just weren't coming out the way that I wanted them to, and there was a lot of steps involved in just making one flower. And so after frustration set in, I thought, okay, I'm going to make up my own flowers. And so I did these, and the difference between these two is that these petals are going down. I rolled them down, and I'll show you what I mean by that. And these petals I rolled going up. And so I like both versions of the flowers. I want to make some of both. I think this is my favorite because I just love the fullness of it, and I love a flower that kind of comes up in direction. So, and I've got some other ideas on what I can do with this as well. You can make them, let's see, this flower only has 4 layers in it. And look at how beautiful that came out. This flower has 7 layers in it. And so it's a little thicker and fuller. And these are super sturdy flowers, you guys. These are going to hold up to your projects. This flower here has 6 layers in it. And this was the first one that I did. And it's kind of a mess, you guys. It's not the prettiest flower you ever saw. But it's still definitely usable, and I think it's cute, and it's my first one. So this was my trial piece, and it's just a little sloppier than the other ones. I had to work a little bit with the distressing inks to figure out how to use that, because I got this in a Happy Mail package a long time ago, and I hadn't used them yet. And I thought, okay, I'm going to use them on these flowers, and oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did. So what I will do is, since I got this in Happy Mail, I'm going to look on Amazon and try and find some links to some different distressing inks that you guys can buy. And this one is in the color Cranberry. I love this color. It is amazingly gorgeous. And I have this one that's from Colorbox. Teresa Collins, and this one is a passion pink, and I think it has a little bit of sparkle in it, and you can see it's a much lighter pink. So I did put some of this in this flower, kind of in the centers, and then I used the cranberry on the outside. So I've got that too. And then I've got some different centerpieces that I'm going to show you guys that work really well. And so I guess that's it. I'm going to go ahead and get started making some of these beauties. And I hope you guys like this video, because I found it to be a lot of fun and really very therapeutic. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and get started. And let's punch some of these out so that you can see how I do my punch. So I just turn it upside down. Take my cardstock. This is cardstock paper. Don't use regular paper, although you could. They're just not going to be as strong as these flowers are when you use the cardstock. So I just position it as close to the edge as I can, and you can see how easy it is to just go through here and punch a whole bunch of these at one time and just get yourself set up to make tons and tons of flowers. And it wants to stick sometimes. And just try to keep it as close as you can so you can get as many flowers out of one piece of paper as possible. And I've even taken some of these, and even if there's a little section where it might have a little cutout, like on this one, you can see right there, there's a little spot that's kind of not, that's okay. That flowers are not perfect, right? They're beautifully imperfect. So I'm going to set that aside because we've got a bunch of these cut out already. And so the way that I do these is I will take and first get out my distressing ink. And this is really simple, and then I'm going to have distressing ink all over my fingers, and that's okay. So I'm just going to take this block and just go around the edges here and then gently dust the center of the flower of each petal, just like that. Super easy peasy. I made it much harder than it was on that first flower because I was so afraid I was just going to get it everywhere, which is what I ended up doing because I was being too careful. So I ended up with a not so pretty flower. So, and you don't have to be perfect with this, you guys. Make sure that you just, because like I said, flowers are perfectly imperfect, and so you don't want them to be too perfect because then they don't look as realistic, honestly, as far as I'm concerned anyway. So I'm just taking and I'm going to go around each petal just like this. And I do the front and the back. Make sure you do both sides, you guys, because that's going to make a difference, because you want your flowers to be pretty on the underside as well. Because believe it or not, people notice that. Now, if you wanted to, you could make them just colored on one side and then leave the back side white or whatever color. And you could use like a ivory color and not use distressing inks at all. Or maybe just kind of do the edges with a vintage looking ink, you know, so that they just look kind of vintage rather than colored. But you can see I'm just very quickly going around the whole flower, and then I'm just gently dusting the insides. So that's how we do the distressing, you guys. Super easy peasy. Just try not to make it any harder than it is, because it really isn't. It's very simple to go through and do this. And you can see I'm not being super careful about what I'm doing. I'm just going over it and getting all those edges. And you don't have to get all the way down to the middle edges, you know, because that's kind of hard to do, to get down in those corners. And that's where you'll mess up. Is when you're trying to get deep into those corners, you're going to mess up. And don't worry about those, because you're not going to see that part of the flower. That's going to be covered up with the other layers. Now, if you want to take your top layer and, you know, do a little bit more that way, a good way to do that would be to take, see, I got a big old blotch of it on that one. That's okay. I'm just going to do this one a little bit darker on the tips. A little bit heavier on the tips on that one. But anyway, I have a brush over here. Okay, so that one's a little bit heavier than the other ones. So I have my little brush here, and you can just take a brush and kind of dab it and get down into the center of this, just like that. And you can get your centers a little bit more covered if you want to do that. And this would be pretty. You can kind of splotch your flowers a little bit with color. You know, just take and put little splotches of color in there. So do your coloring however you want to do it, you guys. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to really do this, except if you're getting big old, like, lines and things in it. You don't want that. So that's how we do that. Just like that. So I've got, you know, a bunch of these made up already. I have a set here. I'm going to show you how I curl them. And honestly, I'm going to, let's see, how many do I have here? 2, 4, 6, 7. I'm going to do a few more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to do a few more of these so that I can do both styles of flower for you guys. So we're just going to distress a few more. And then I'll put these aside because I do like to get them to dry just a little bit before I curl them, because they seem to stay in place the way I want them if they're dry. Putting the distressing ink on there kind of gets the petals a little bit softer, and then they don't, I've noticed they don't hold their shape quite as well. So I like to let that distressing ink dry just a little bit before I start curling my petals. I'm just taking and adding a little extra on the tips of these. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a flower making day. I'm going to make a whole bunch of these. Now I am also almost out, of course, of my cardstock paper because I used it to print some images recently because I got my printer. And so now I kind of went crazy trying to get some images printed out so that I can make some tags and things. I have a whole bunch of images that I've had forever, and I haven't been able to use them because I haven't had a printer for at least probably 8 months or so. I've been without a printer, so that's been kind of frustrating with all the things that I'm trying to do, and I do like my images, so I've had to use a lot of old images that I already had printed to do most of my projects, and now I was able to print some new ones that I haven't had for quite a while because I had run out of them. And I'm sorry if I'm shaking my table, you guys. I just realized I had my elbows on the table. One more. I want to do these with the 7 layers so that you guys can really get the full effect of how nice they look with those extra layers in there. But again, I mean, you could even make them with 3 layers and make some very pretty, more flat flowers. If you want something where you just want your flowers to kind of lay flat on it, you can do that too. Now, just know that when you do this part, you're going to end up with distressing ink all over your fingers like I have right now. Just have some wipes handy so that you can wipe your fingers off. And I say that at the same time that I do not have any wipes handy in front of me right now. I moved mine and I don't know where I put them. And I'm just going to dab some of this in these corners here. Those I already did. I'm just trying to do some creative splotches here. We'll see what those look like in the end. So this flower will be just a little bit different. And I'm just doing the splotches on one side. I don't feel like I need to do that on both sides. Okay, so there we go. We've got 7 layers, 7 flowers done up. I just rubbed off some of the ink on that one, so I wanted to cover it up. Okay, let me close up my ink here. All right. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to let these dry just a little bit here, and I'm going to pull my other ones aside. These are from the first set that I did, and I think I put one of my first set flowers in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 4, 6, 7. Oh, I guess I turned more of these than I thought. So here's my set that I already rolled the petals on. And this one, we're going to go ahead and make it, we'll go ahead and make this one the downward flowers. And so I'm going to show you how I do this. I take my round pliers. These are the ones I use for jewelry making. I'm not going to use my little rolling thing that they use to make the flowers to cup them and all that stuff. We're beyond that. We're gonna make this as simple as we possibly can so that you guys can just make a very simple, quick, easy flower. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take it at these corners here, right there, and I'm just gonna roll it, one roll. I'm going to grab it as close to the end as I can and roll it so that what I'm going to end up with is almost like a V at the top. So very quickly, I'm just going to go through and do each petal. And this is exactly what I did on these. And this is quick and easy. This is something you could sit and do while you're watching TV at night. Just have a bunch of them cut out and sit in front of the TV and curl your petals. So since we're going to do this one with the petals going downward, I've got my glue gun here. And here's what I've figured out. You know, when you're working with paper, the hot glue doesn't always want to stick real great. So I'm going to use a little bit of E6000 along with the hot glue to glue these together. So what you want to make sure you're doing, make sure this is coming out, is I'm just going to put, actually no, I'll do a couple of them. I shouldn't be doing this because I'm going to have to push these down onto each other, and that was probably a big mistake, but that's okay. So I'm going to take the E6000 and then I'm going to take a dot of hot glue and I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it in between so that it's coming in between the other petals so that they're offset, just like that. And we're just going to go along here. Oh, I knew that was a big mistake. And we're going to do our E6000 if it comes out. This tube is, it was coming out a second ago like wildfire, and now it doesn't want to. There we go. So I'm just going to put a little dollop on there. Put a little dollop of hot glue. And we will tap that one down. And this one I'm going to put not quite in the center like I did the other one. I'm going to offset it a little bit more. And there's a reason for that. I think that it gives them a little bit more fullness if you do that. And then this one, I will go off in the other direction just a little bit. Let's see. We'll go just like that. And then this one will go right between. Again, we'll go back to being right between the two underneath it. And we're just going to keep on going, just like that. Pressing it down firmly and holding it down long enough for it to take. And there's where I didn't need to put E6000 on one of those. I knew I left one blank for a reason, because this is going to be our top petal. And we'll just go right between. So there we have a nice full set of petals. And these, again, are the ones that are sort of curling in the downward direction. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these and just sort of start fluffing them up a little bit. Pulling them up. Starting with the top ones, and I'll just work my way down the flower. And it's easier to do this now rather than once I've tried to put a center in there, and it's not as easy to work with. So I'm just kind of bending them at the center where the circle point would be and getting them fluffed up. Going all the way around. And that bottom layer I'm just leaving the way it is. In fact, I'm going to kind of fold those down a little bit more. And maybe the second layer too. That adds a little bit of separation there. So that's what it looks like now. Isn't that gorgeous? So now I've got a bunch of bits here that I took out to show you that you can use as centerpieces for these. I think I already know which one I'm going to use in this one. Now this you could use, but it's a little bit small, and I think it gets drowned in there. So if you're going to use something that's really tiny like this, which I did do on this one, I used a little bit of fuzzy yarn, and I put that down first and then put that in the center of it. So you can see how I did that one. And it worked out fine that way. So we obviously won't be using that one. And then here's another one that's really pretty. Again, a little bit smaller than what I want to put in here. And then you can use, if you have like some of the acrylic flowers, look at how pretty that one looks in the center. I'm going to see if maybe if I turn this light off, if you guys can see it a little bit better. So that looks really pretty in the middle. I would definitely be willing to use that. And then I've got a piece of rhinestone bling, which really looks very pretty. And this is one that I got from Kiki's. So that's a possibility. And then here's one of my paper roses. This is one of the smaller paper roses. And those are always good centerpieces to use in your flowers. I even pulled out a little blue one because I thought, you know, sometimes a contrasting flower looks really pretty in the center of another flower. So that looks really pretty. So you got your blue and your pink together. And then this is a little carnation that I got from Kiki's, and I have a bunch of these, and these are actually quite perfect for the center of that because look at how it just fills in that center so nicely. And then we have this one that looks super pretty, and this is one of the little pink and white roses. And this, too small. Gets lost in it. And then there's this one that these always look gorgeous in the center of a flower. I know Debbie uses these a lot in her flowers, and this one actually is a perfect color for this flower. So that's a really nice one. And then I took out one of my AB rhinestone bits, and this one, unfortunately though, I think is just a little bit too big for this flower. But if it was round and just a little bit smaller, that would be super pretty. But that's too big, so we won't use that. And then I've got a white one that's just like that little purple one. And that looks really pretty. These make nice centerpieces because of the 3 pearls that are in the center. And then I have this one that I also got from Kiki's. So now we just need to decide which one we're going to use in this flower. And I'm thinking for this one, I'm going to go with this pretty blingy rhinestone flower. I think that one just looks really, really special in this flower. So that's what we're going to go with in this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of E6000 down and use a little bit of hot glue. That way I know once that E6000 cures, it's going to stay down. A nice pile of hot glue. And I'm going to press it and hold it down until that hot glue gets good and set. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to start bending these petals up again around the blingy piece. And sometimes you just have to kind of play with these petals to get them exactly the way you want them. So we all kind of have a different idea of how we want our flowers to look. And look at how beautifully those came up around that rhinestone piece. Super pretty, and I just love it. I love it so much. I love these flowers so much. And Debbie, I cannot thank you enough. You have no idea how much use I'm going to get out of this beautiful punch. So there we have it, you guys. There's that one. And let's go ahead and make the other one where we're going to have the petals going in an upward direction. I'm going to turn these over so that I have them going the right way. Yeah. Because I'm going to have these going up. So I want the more painted side of the petals going up. So I'm turning them over and rolling them to the top. And you can see once you get in the groove, this goes really, really fast. My next process is going to be to learn how to make the edges a little more jaggedy looking. And I think I know how I can do that. Once I get off camera, I'm going to experiment a little bit with the flowers as I cut them to change the shapes so that the centers of the petals are a little bit different. You guys, I'm going to have a whole bunch of different flowers. Now I just what I need to do is I need to order some cardstock paper so that I have enough paper to just spend maybe an entire day just making flowers. And that way I can get those in my shop, and I think these will do really, really well in my shop as well. So I'm trying to find some things that you guys will actually really want to purchase. And I'm still trying to find my legs there and get the right things in my shop so that my shop can be successful. And so I'm learning as I go, just trying to figure out what you guys want and how I can accommodate you, you know, so that you guys can get the things that you want to use in your crafting projects. So I'm working on it. So really all of most of them, I should say, not all of them, most of the things that I'm going to offer in my shop are all going to be handmade by me. That's what I want to come down to, is where all of my flowers and things like that are handmade. I do have some flowers in my store, not a lot. But I just want to get a variety of different types of flowers. And these kind of remind me more of like your, what do you call them? Peonies or something like that. I thought these kind of had more of that kind of a look rather than a rose, because they don't look like roses. To me, they look like the peony or peonies. I don't know. You guys, I know I'm not pronouncing that correctly. But that's okay. Okay, so we've got these all turned up. There we go. And now we will start putting these together, because these have gotten nice and dry now and they're ready to glue together. So let's get busy. And this time I'm going to do them one at a time. I was just trying to save my hot glue, well, yeah, the hot glue, so that I could have the E6000 down and then do the hot glue on each one that I was doing, but I guess I didn't think that through quite right, because I ended up getting glue all over my fingers for doing that, which was okay. I got it right off. No big deal. You guys will find out with me, I am probably the most easygoing person in the world, and everybody around me is always telling me, why don't you never get mad at anything? You never get frustrated. And I do, trust me, I do get frustrated. But I'm pretty good at letting things roll off my back for the most part. I can do it for a long time before I get real frustrated. I can tell this one's going to be really pretty. I think my E6000 tube has sprung a leak in the side of the tube. And if that's the case, I'm going to be throwing it away and opening a new one after this. Because I'm getting it all over my fingers. Either that or I laid it down. I bet I laid it down in a pile of glue that oozed out of it. I think that's what I did. There we go. Last one. And that one's gonna go right there. So there we go. We've got these petals going up. I'm looking at this one. I want to see if I curl the centers down a little bit, if that will make a difference on this. Although I really actually love this flower the way it is. But it was meant to be turned down, and it feels like it looks more like it's turned up instead of down. So I'm just taking on this first one that we did here. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm changing gears for just a minute. Because I'm looking at this one and I'm thinking, okay, that looks an awful lot like the one with the petals turned up. After I fluffed it and made them all kind of go in the upward direction, it kind of made it do what I was trying not to do. Although, like I said, I actually love it the way it is. I wanted this one to have more of the appearance of being curled down, so I just want to get it looking the way I intended so that you guys can get an idea of the difference between one that's rolled down and one that's rolled up. Okay, there we go. All right, so now all we need to do is put a center in the middle of this one, and we will have this one done. So let's see, where do we want to go with this one? We're going to use that one. I like that very, very much. So we're going to put a little E6000 on there. And a little bit of hot glue on the other side here, and get that down before it starts to cure. There we go. And while I'm pressing that down, I'm going to sort of press these petals up a little bit. It makes it easy when you're pressing down that center because you're not pulling the sections apart, because it's very easy to pull these sections apart. Although you can put them back together, it's not completely set with that E6000 yet. So, and the hot glue with paper does not, it's not the best glue for paper. It's just almost like using hot glue for glass. Glass is not, hot glue is not made for glass. There we go. So there we have one with them facing down and one with them facing up. And that's what they look like. Super duper pretty. And what I'm thinking about with these other ones is I'm thinking if I could take my scissors and sort of kind of go to the middles of these and kind of make a heart shape like that, I might get a whole nother look with the flowers. Maybe we should just make one, and we'll just do it white. One. I think we have time, right? Make sure you guys are watching for my, that you go back and watch my September giveaway video for the YouTube channel, because I am going to be giving away something for the month of September to one of my YouTube subscribers, and this is outside of my Etsy shop giveaway. So make sure you guys get in and look for that video so that you can make a comment and let me know, because you're going to have some choices in that video. I'm asking for your help to decide which item in that video is what the majority of the people are wanting as the giveaway. So I just need your help. I thought it'd be fun to get you guys involved in the whole process of deciding what to do with my giveaway. And what I did was I made a bunch of boxes, pretty boxes. And so one of those boxes will be the giveaway item. There's really no quick way to do this, you guys. I have to go around to each petal, and I'm just cutting basically a little heart shape into it. Not a perfect heart shape, mind you. Just like that. So that there's just a little different shape to them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, we're going to go with 7. So and I'm going to perfect this process, and I'm going to come up with a flower that's all mine. And I'm going to name it. So maybe what we'll do at some point is have a little naming video so you guys can help me come up with a cute name for the flower. That would be fun. Trying to think of ways to get you guys more involved in my videos and stuff, because I do love so much getting to know all of you, and I have several of you that that I talk to on a regular basis through Messenger, and anytime you guys want to private message me, you can do that through Messenger. And you can do that by using my name. So just know that you can you can do it that way. And I will respond to your messages. Always, always, always. I may not respond to you immediately, but I will respond. This is the other thing that I was thinking would be great for a centerpiece, and maybe I'll use some of these on this one. Although this is white, it may not be good on the white one. So anyway, so let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and curl these edges just a little bit here. I think this might turn out to be a good idea. We'll see. And like I said, my little cutouts are not perfect. I didn't intend for them to be perfect. I just want them to be a little different than the other ones. And then I just want to come up with that one flower that I really, really, really like, that can be just kind of my thing. And white flowers are always good. I want to make some white ones too. The white ones actually will be a good seller for wedding season. You know, a lot of people are looking for their white decorations and things to do centerpieces and things like that with. So if I can come up with some nice white bits and pieces, I think maybe I could do well with selling that kind of thing as well in my Etsy store. Gotta get that Etsy store moving, you guys. Any ideas are greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions or things that you think might help. I belong to a lot of groups on Facebook, a lot of Etsy groups and things like that. A big part of me wants to move away from Etsy and start my own website. But I don't want to end up losing customers by doing that, because people already know to look, you know, for my Etsy store. So I don't know, but Etsy's just gotten to the point where they're charging so much in fees these days that now my profits, sales are doing pretty good, but my profits are getting eaten up with Etsy's fees, and they want you to do free shipping for certain amounts of sales, or they won't send you customers. And it's frustrating because they run how you do things, and then they charge us fees on our shipping fees. So not only are we paying shipping, and you guys are paying shipping when you purchase, I pay a fee as if I was making profits on the shipping fees, and I'm not. And that's very, very annoying. They didn't used to do that. Shipping fees were a whole separate item, and now they're taking from that. And it's not like I overcharge for shipping. In fact, most of the time I undercharge for my shipping. And part of that is because I can't figure out how to change my shipping fees prices since they went up, because Etsy's system keeps telling me I'm doing something wrong and it won't let me change my fees. So everybody's getting lower shipping rates because I can't get them to change. So buy while you can, while the shipping is low, guys. But there, in my Etsy shop, I do offer free shipping for anything over $35. So just so you guys know, that's kind of an everyday thing. And then again, right now, we're doing the raffle for anybody that spends $50 or more. And the September raffle is pretty cool. It's going to be, the winner's going to get one of my Lazy Susans and one of the handmade pens that my husband has made. So it's going to be a set that will go out to the winner for the month of September. So $50 purchases, $50 or more. Even if you make 2 purchases and the total ends up being $50 or more, you will qualify. So it doesn't have to all be in one purchase, but it does have to be in the month of September. So just make sure that if you want to get in, you have to make those purchases in September. So don't wait, you guys, until October and think that you're gonna be able to get into the raffle, because it's only for September purchases. I'm gonna be doing this every month, so every month I'm gonna try and come up with something cool as a giveaway item for my shoppers, because I think it's awesome to be able to honor my customers and thank them for patroning my shop, because if it wasn't for you all, you know, I wouldn't be doing this. So I'm a lucky person, and I'm super blessed because I have some really great friends that I've made through my channel, and I love it. And actually, I'm really liking this cut in these petals. It looks really pretty. So you can see it definitely adds a different look to the flower. I really like it. And that one looks real pretty in the center. That looks pretty. That looks pretty. They all look pretty. Anything will go in the white flower. That looks really pretty too. And I think for this one, I'm going to go with that. I'm just going to go with the white one that's like the one that I put in the other flower. Okay, so let me put some E6000 down and some hot glue. And there we go. And we're going to start fluffing the petals up. And I really think that 7 layers on these is perfect. But like I said, you can go with, you know, 6 or 5 or 4, you know, whatever you want to go with depending on what you're going to be using them for. But for, you know, like putting these on your memory boxes or jewelry boxes and things like that, I think this, I think 7 is really nice because it gives that fullness that you're looking for. And I'm just curling a couple of these petals just a little bit more. It almost feels like when you add that distressing ink, it puts a certain stiffness in these, in the paper, that it doesn't seem is there with just the plain white cardstock. It's funny. I think that distressing ink is a nice stiffener. Must have something in it that helps in that process. Because now I'm wanting to sort of recurl all of these petals here. Not that, I mean, they're not all terrible, but they're just not as stiff as the other ones were. Okay, the rest of those are good. So that's what that one looks like, you guys. Look at how pretty it is. Woohoo! I'm excited. So these are the 3 flowers we made today, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. I'm going to be making a ton of these flowers, and I hope you will too. I'll put a link down in the description menu for on Amazon for these punches and some distressing inks. Maybe not this kind, but some other distressing inks that you can use instead of this. And I guess that's it for today, you guys. Thank you for watching. If you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. And I hope you will consider subscribing to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it if you did. And let's see what else. Don't forget about the giveaway. Don't forget to visit my Etsy shop and see if there's anything over there that you'd like to purchase so you can get into the September raffle for my Etsy shop. And you guys all have a really blessed day. Take care of yourselves, and I will put some pictures on the back end of this video. And you all just take care. God bless. Bye-bye.